Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for stopping by. I am working on a layout of my daughter. That's her. And right now I am going through some cut files and chipboard things that I have collected, which sadly don't make it to the layout, but there'll be another one and another one and another one. I am primarily working with the Snow and Cocoa collection. The gray snowflake paper that you see, I backed my layout and my photo with it. That is actually from an old Echo Park collection. I think this 'tis the season. I did not manage to get my hands on a lot of that collection it came out last year, and I'm pretty sure that it was re-released this year, which is a good thing because it was extremely popular, and I only was able to get a few sheets of the paper, and I am trying very hard to get as much as I can into this layout. And you just saw me pause because I realized I could have cut a strip from the wood grain and just turned it over, and instead I cut from a whole new piece of paper, but that is okay. I actually managed to get a lot of the embellishments on this layout, which I am extremely proud of. If you were able to catch my tour of my craft room, I did mention or point out all of my Christmas stash, which I've been collecting for years. And it's sad to use that term collecting because you're not supposed to collect it, you're supposed to use it. But I know I'm not the only one who hoards paper. I think every scrapper's New Year's resolution is to use their stash, and I am really hoping that I'm able to keep that going past January. So that is my goal. I also decided trying to challenge myself to not think too much as I am creating a layout. I used to get a photo and I'd pick the collection I wanted to use, and then I'd start rummaging through pretty much everything I own in search of whatever might match or look good, and it got really overwhelming, and I'd spend so much time searching, and then most of it doesn't make it on the layout because you can only add so much. So I am trying to limit myself. So I pulled out the Snow and Cocoa collection, and this is the first layout that I've created with it, and I do pull just a handful of things from a Pretty Little Studio collection, but for the most part I think I did pretty well. So I get a lot of the embellishments added to this layout, and you notice that I did prep the wood grain with gesso, which I had planned to do watercolor on the background, but that didn't happen either. But that's okay because I'm still pleased with how it turned out. I did stitch around the layout and through the horizontal strips of paper. And I wanted to get as much pattern paper as I could on there. And even though I only got a few sheets of the collection, I still have quite a bit of embellishments, and again, I have so much Christmas stash, I don't think I'll be hurting. I also noticed that I'd be so afraid to layer things and behind other things because you couldn't really see it, and I'd struggle thinking I should cut it in half, or why even bother using it at all. But for me, it just added enough to make it seem like it was complete. So I do add some layers in this layout, which I struggled with at first, but I did it anyway because, again, the whole goal is to use your stash. Right now I am pulling out the wood veneer, the burr, it's the BRR, and I'm backing it, and for some reason I glued the wood veneers on and then I cut them out. I have no idea why I did it that way. I should have traced it and then glued it, but I edited all that out because I struggled a lot with cutting them out. So right now they're drying. I'm adding an embellishment cluster on the left there, And I knew I wanted to add something behind it just because it got lost if it was just sitting on that pattern paper. And I don't end up using that striped card there. I switch it out for something else. And those mason jars, I know there was a kit of a few of those and some inserts, which mason jars don't really have anything to do with winter, but they certainly have been popular in, I don't know, the past year or two. But it actually reminds me more of a snow globe with the inserts that they provided. The one that's in there is, I think it's a little girl throwing a snowball. So that makes sense to me. And mason jar or not, I think what it comes down to is that it just looks cute, right? There is another one of those layers that I mentioned before. I think 6 months ago I never would have done that. But again, it made it complete for me. And even though you can't see most of it, I included it anyway. And honestly, the whole recording of your videos, it definitely has forced me to just commit and do it quicker than typical. Don't get me wrong, my videos before editing take almost an hour. I think the first one I did was almost 2 hours. So that too, it forces me just to decide on things quicker, and I don't need to put all this thought behind it. It's just paper. It's not a kidney. It's just paper. So as long as I am happy with it, that is all that matters. So back to the layout. I guess that little card there was, I can't remember what it says about snowflakes. If you were a snowflake, it'd send you a blizzard, which is kind of true. And that oh so cold piece, although it dawns on me now, I'm not sure whether that or the burr is my title. I guess I should figure that out before I actually post this. I hadn't really thought about that until now that I am watching this. And my photo is popped up, so I realized I needed to pop up the right side of that mason jar. And you'll see that black and white tag is what I ended up grounding that embellishment custard on. And I am going to add some gold thread through it, which I don't add a lot of thread on my layouts. I know people like Missy Whitten, she adds them to every single layout and it looks great with what she does. It doesn't seem natural to me, but for tags or underneath flare, that works for me. But this is a year of new challenges, so who knows? Maybe I will add more. The flare and a few other small pieces are from a Pretty Little Studio collection. And I did mention that I was going to limit my stash, but I really wanted to use that flare, and some of the other little embellishments just matched perfectly, but I promise you that was it. And I am proud of how quickly this came together. I did have an idea of the layout, the design of it that I wanted to create before I started, and that helped some. But usually in the past, previous to this, I would just go through all these what ifs because I'd have this table full of all of my stash that I had rummaged through. And I'm not doing that anymore. So keep your fingers crossed. So I am just trying to figure out where I'm going to put that burr, and I end up placing it on the photo because even though it's still part of her, I think it was kind of still like white space. So I add some little sticker strips. Those are from Pretty Little Studio. I think I only add a couple to them. And that is pretty much it. I do add some journaling off camera, and I add some Pretty Pink Posh sequins. And I have to apologize. This portion of the video, I have no idea what I'm doing. And obviously I should have edited it out, but please keep in mind, I am new at this. I'm trying to get the hang of it. So I'm doing something. I can't tell you what it is because I don't recall, but there I am. I was looking for those flare buttons. And the flare that I end up using says, "As I shouted out with glee." And I know it's not part of Snow and Cocoa, but it matched and it was so cute. And I wanted to use it. I do back it with that gold thread, which I love using, but gold thread's so much harder to manage. I've heard other people say that as well, but we still insist on using it. The other little pink hearts and that speech bubble, that is from Pretty Little Studio. That's another collection I've been hoarding, but I will use it coming soon. There I am. I'm fighting with that gold thread. Yep, I'm trying to get it down. Just glue it down. It's giving me such a hard time. And that the roll that I have is almost gone. And I love it so much, even though it gives me such a hard time. So I think I am adding those sequins, which I add a few scattered about the page. I love these because they're all different sizes. They range from super small to super big, which that doesn't really tell you the size of them, but I've been using them pretty much on every project lately. So that is it. I really hope that you enjoyed watching. I hope that you found some inspiration in all of this process and the photos. Thank you so much. Please hit the like button and subscribe, and I will be back with another video soon. Thanks so much. Have a great day.